Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Growth Circuit, which is powered by Petion AI Solutions. This podcast was created for founders and future entrepreneurs to talk about what has gone well for them, but also what they look for when they're hiring people, or if you're in the tech industry, what's going on with IT churn. I want to say for anyone that's looking to start their own company, younger entrepreneurs, or even young adults, if you're looking to get an edge, this podcast is here for you as we're tapping into some of the elite leaders in their companies as well as high-level executives. Once again, I want to say thank you and welcome to the Growth Circuit, again powered by Petion AI Solutions. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Growth Circuit podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Petion, and with me today I have someone really special, Mr. Mark Westlake, who's actually the owner of GearBrain.com. And today I think is the perfect time for everyone to just tune in and listen to what Mr. Mark has to say, because this is a different industry, but a lot of people are not even looking at doing it. And I guarantee you he has the perfect mindset to talk about how to explode it and just put your best foot forward and attack whatever you're trying to do. Mr. Mark, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. This is great, Jeff. I'm looking forward to it.
No, awesome, Mr. Mark. So before we start, Mr. Mark, do you mind giving us a brief introduction of your background,
Sure.
as well as what led you to start your company, GearBrain?
Sure. So my background, I've been in this business, as you can tell with the gray hair, a long, long time. I was in it before there was an internet, right? And I came out of publishing, magazine publishing, worked for the Sporting News, and got into the internet when I left the Sporting News, when my bosses did not answer the RFP from CBS to be called the CBS Sporting News. They felt the internet was a fad. So I was like, I'm out, and I went to a company and went for DE Shaw, worked on launch Juno. And then over the years, I've helped launch some very successful businesses, Auto Trader. I was part of the group that helped launch that when I was at Cox, and then helped build a number of successful businesses. And I made a lot of people a lot of money, and I got tired of doing it for everybody else. So I started my own business. So about 10 years ago, I had this idea. I saw the Internet of Things coming. I saw what was happening, and nobody was focused on helping the consumer navigate this new connected lifestyle we're moving into. So I decided to leave my company and took my equity out and started GearBrain. And GearBrain was a content site that helped the consumer. We did product reviews, but we tested the products in real homes because it was all about connectivity and interoperability. And you can't test connectivity for a smart device in a lab because not everybody has the connectivity that you have in a lab. You got to put a video doorbell on your front door and then have your router buried in a closet in the back of the house to see if it works. So that's kind of what we did. And it was fine. We kind of created a brand. And about 4 years into it, I said I had to do something different. So I had this idea of an IoT configurator. And what an IoT configurator is, it's the ability for a user to search for compatibility of two or more devices across a single ecosystem. So this is a glaring need in the smart home and a lot of other industries, but really the smart home consumer, smart devices, where you're connecting devices to your phone, to your laptop, to your tablet, right? There's a need there. So think of it as, all right, I got a smart light, I got smart locks, and I want to add a smart thermostat. And but I want unified control, right? I want it all controlled through one device or one system. How do I do that? And that's what this IoT configurator does. It helps you figure that piece out. What it's also really good at, it's a really good mousetrap for us and our partners to learn what devices you have in your house, because you have to tell us what devices you have for us to help you find, buy, and connect any smart device. So I took this IoT configurator concept, got a patent, and then we launched what we call the Smart Marketplace. And the nucleus of the Smart Marketplace is the compatibility, the IoT configurator, which we call a compatibility find engine, because it's criteria-based searching. It's not like browsing regular search, right? It's very specific.
Yeah.
So we launched that, and then we realized that we had to make some enhancements to the platform. because it was too manual a process for the consumer to tell us what devices. We had to simplify things, because we've learned over the years, especially what got me into this business. When you think about going back 10 years ago, when they
Mhm.
launched, Amazon launched Echo, right? The Echo speaker.
Yeah.
How easy it was. You just brought it home, plugged it in, connected to your phone, then you connect it to your Wi-Fi, and you're done. And you just ask a question. So we recognized we had to do something, and that's when I said, all right, we got to get into AI, because AI can solve all the problems that we have, with our marketplace. So we started building a year and a half ago the GearBrain Assistant. And what the GearBrain Assistant is really the connected compatibility intelligent framework
Mhm.
for helping the consumer find, buy, and connect any smart device, but also can help manufacturers, retailers, and installers simplify the purchasing, integration, and management of all these smart solutions. Because that's the big problem out there. It's solving for
Yeah.
interoperability and learning on how to help the consumer live this new connected lifestyle. So we've kind of created the framework, and now in the center of that is our IoT configurer, which is morphed into the GearBrain Assistant.
No, I love it. Just to touch up on a couple things that you mentioned, where and I know how you felt when you mentioned that you're tired of making other people money, because that's the biggest thing that I tell people is that honestly, if you know you have a gift or you're good at something, um, why not try it for yourself, right?
Right.
Why not put yourself on it, bet on yourself to make it happen. And I love that you mentioned that in this day and age right now, everyone is connected by their phones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone uses their phone to, for example, me personally, at nighttime, I get hot. I do not want to get up out my bed. I get my phone and I turn on my AC through my phone.
Right.
Like, it's just yeah, everyone wants to be connected. And the life that we live in now, I call it a connected lifestyle where your phone is everyone's life. So everyone wants to have compatibility. And you're correct. Come home, turn on the speaker through your phone, turn on the light through your phone, unlock the door.
Correct.
That is awesome that you did that, because yeah, if you look back through the years when connected devices came out, there was compatibility, but no one knew how to
And they
even
still,
do that, right?
believe it or not, Jeff, they still don't.
Yeah.
It's so like when I hear friends of mine, I got like five different apps. I'm like, well, you got to pick, and that's what we
Yep.
kind of try to do is educate them on the fact that you got to pick a controller, right? What do you want to
Exactly.
control? Is it your phone? Is it your television? Is it your voice assistant? You pick it
Yep.
and then go from there, because then all of a sudden your life can get really easy. Like I remember when we bought, I put it in our bedroom. We had Philips Hue lights, right? And I put a
Yeah.
Google Assistant mini speaker, right? A Google Mini. And my wife's like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Trust me, right?" And at first she was like, "No, no, no," but now all of a sudden she's like, gets in bed and says, "All right, hey, turn off the lights," or "Hey, oh, close the blinds," and everything. And she's doing it all from the bed. And I'm like, "Hey, you're kind of liking this, huh? What's the temperature out there? Oh, what's the weather forecast?" And it's interesting because we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years, and we, I love the people at Parks Associates. It's a research firm out of Texas. I
Oh
think
wow.
they're in Austin. They're fantastic. They do a lot of research and a lot of studies on smart home. They've been doing it for years, and they have one where the average home today has 17 connected devices in their house. A couple years
Yeah.
ago, it was 8. So it's double,
Yeah.
it's moving, and it's probably 17. That's the average. I mean, I'm sure like
Yeah.
my house would throw that average right out the window, but you can't use me, because we test things. But I look at my kid. My kids all want, hey, you got smart lights, you got a smart plug. Oh, hey, I got a smart
Yeah.
thermostat. Oh, hey, you got a security camera. Oh, I need a floodlight. All of a
Yeah.
sudden they're starting to realize, and these things are easy, but then you got to be smart how to put it all together, because you're going to have all different apps, or you're going to be like, what the heck's going on here? And you really, if you do it right, it can not only make your life easier, but it can even, in some cases, depending on your house, you could save money on
Yeah.
your insurance. You can save money
Yeah.
on your energy bill by connecting your smart thermostat to your the power grid or whatever, your
Yep.
gas and your heating and cooling and all that stuff. So it's an interesting, and what we figured out that nobody's figured out is that compatibility piece, because
Yeah.
a lot of times oh, this works with that, and it doesn't, right? And so when we started the marketplace, that was the whole key differentiator, was the compatibility piece. And then now with AI, how do I take 5,000 products that I have, owner's manuals, setup guides, spec sheets, descriptions, UPC codes, privacy statement? How do I take all that data and teach the AI how to read it? And that's
Yeah.
where a lot of people got overwhelmed, but it's not as bad as you think, and I think that's, but once you do that, dealing with AI right now, it's probably easier than try to learn how to code.
Yeah, it's 100 times easier. I'll say, like, because I can honestly say I tried it. I tried to code, and I was like, no, I'm not a coder.
Right.
But AI, I can tell you anything you need to know about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no,
So
so
true.
Mr. Mark, I do have to ask, like, what inspired you personally to take on the challenge to start GearBrain? I know you said it was compatibility, well, people not knowing, well, helping them find smart devices for their houses. But what challenged you to start it?
Well, besides the fact that I wanted to do something for myself, I always wanted to do something,
Mhm.
right? And I was getting up in my career, and I was like, okay, I got to do something that's more, rewarding. And I had this idea. And then I also, when I looked at the market, right, I saw this market that's going to grow like crazy. But at that point, everybody was talking about the industrial IoT, how
Yeah,
connected devices going into manufacturing, it's going into, the B2B market, right? Buildings and stuff like that. And I saw no one was real. I saw an opportunity, right? With no one underserved was the consumer. And, an
yeah.
Echo had just, hadn't even come out yet. I mean, that was amazing. This is before the Echo. And I've always said that artificial intelligence, I thought, would play a role in this at some point. It just
Yeah.
didn't know what. And then when I saw the Echo, I said, "Oh, there it is." And I wrote an article in 2000, I think it was 2016, that said we're all going to have a Jarvis. All right. And what I was referring to was the movie Iron Man, where
Okay.
Iron Man had Jarvis, which ran the house.
Yeah.
But really, if you look at it, it was the AI that was a wearable. It went in the suit, was in the car,
Yep.
was in the wherever he went, it was always there. But what was really interesting too was that it was customized to that person, right?
Yeah.
And when you look at today AI, a lot of it's also starting now to become very personalized. You can create it to make it your own, right? So that's really, and I saw things like I remember my sister-in-law turned 70, and my wife and her sisters gave her a Fitbit, and they couldn't get the Fitbit to work with my sister-in-law's phone. And I said, I know why it's not working. She goes, why not? It goes, your phone's too old, and it can't upgrade. It
I,
can't use the new app that
yeah.
requires you to use to operate the wearable, the Fitbit. So you got to either go buy a Fitbit that's compatible with the phone, or you got to get a new phone. Find out which is cheaper. And that to me was just another sign that says this is the right thing to do. That okay,
Yeah.
there's just going to be more and more of that happening, and it's happening today as we speak. I hear stories, and people ask me, "What do I do?" Oh, I got to buy a camera. I'm like, and my first question is to them is like, okay, what's your controller? How do you want to control this thing? You got to figure those pieces out. They're simple questions, but once you answer those,
Yeah.
it'll dictate the path. And do you want to do it yourself, or do you want to have a guy come? That's
Yeah.
an easy. A lot of people at the end of the day just want a guy. Okay, fine. Just know that every time you call the guy, it's going to cost you $100. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but that's fine for some people. But even now with seniors, the technology is, and for caregivers, it's great, because you could put cameras
Yeah.
in the house, or you could put sensors on your parent or whatever. God forbid they fall, you'll get notifications. There's a lot of things
Yeah.
that can make your life a lot easier. But again, how does it all work? How does it all connect? What's the ecosystem? How to keep that's and I wanted to build a platform that could solve those problems. And we're now at that point. It took longer than we thought, but the market didn't grow as fast as everybody thought it was going to grow. But it's
Yeah.
growing and it's not going away because these things are embedded, and it does make your life easier.
Yeah, it definitely does. And it's the time, right? I tell everyone when you look at artificial intelligence or even the technology now, if you do it right, it's giving you your time back. Um, for a business, I think AI is probably the best thing that you can put inside a business, especially when you look at time. You're getting your time back, and what does all business owners say? Time is money.
Yep.
So you can get your time back to put your newfound time into something else to help the company grow. And for everyone else, like technology is not going anywhere. Technology is only advancing, it's only going to get better.
Right.
With that being said, that means everything that you currently have, you have to be able to adapt to it, because as the technology grows, you mentally you have to grow with it.
Right.
Because if not, then a lot of people are going to struggle. I
And,
can
and
I can see that.
that's the thing is it's not as glaring as, like, you know, how would I say this? It's kind of like, when people who are not in the workforce who have to, like, think about when we had to start using computers in the workforce, and people are like, I don't want to use a computer, but you
Yep.
had to, and eventually smart devices will be there, but they're not going to be as depending on
It's
what
hard
you
ups.
have. You
Yeah.
can have a very simple, easy, or you can have a very complicated where you walk up to the house and the doorbell recognizes you, unlocks your door, turns the lights on, turns the music on.
Yeah.
You're all ready to go. The oven goes on. You can program it, but I mean that's not everybody. It's probably a small percentage of people. But
Yeah.
eventually, the young generation, I just, think about the young kids today. I mean, I work with my
Yep.
grandchildren, and they go over to the television, they just start swiping like a
Yeah.
phone, it's like, it's amazing on what these kids could do. So that brain power is going to really change the way. And that's why when I started my business, I wanted to be that place. Think about the guy you call whenever you have a problem or you have a technology question, right? That's what I wanted GearBrain to be. And I think we're
Awesome.
going down that path where we're going to have with AI now with the GearBrain assistant. It'll be the place where you can go and you can ask it any question. And what's
Yeah.
going to differentiate us are two things. One, our compatibility data. It's very, very unique, right? And two, how we're training the AI. All right. Because I think it's not like the three questions or three things you got to remember, at least when I got in this space, was one, how do you ask it? The AI or the LLM. Because you could ask it the same question 5 different times to get 5 different answers.
Yep.
So it's key to understand what you want it to do, how you ask it.
Yeah.
Second, where does it go to get the information? Where do you point it? Do you just point it to say go,
Mhm.
or do you point it to a
Yeah.
specific source, right? And then the third thing
Yeah.
is, how do you know the outcome is accurate? How do you know these guys, the information they got is right, right? So what we've done is said, okay, we're going to ask the questions because we're the subject matter experts. We're going to also train our AI based on manufacturer's product data, plus our knowledge base of 10 years of testing and working with all these devices and systems. And then we're going to validate our output. We're part of an organization called the C2PA. Stands for Content Credentials Providence Authenticity. It's a trade association started by Intel, Adobe, and Microsoft, and
Wow.
all the big media companies, all the big tech companies are involved with this thing. What they're developing is the specification, the trust list, the manifest, the spec for when you the watermarking for your data, right? Whether it's an article, it's text, a video, image, all of it gets in the metadata tagged, right, in a certain way, so that when it gets picked up by an LLM, all right, you'll be able to read the source. Think of it like blockchain, who owns it,
Awesome.
right?
Yeah.
So that, if someone runs a news story and says, oh, here's a photograph of someone robbing somebody, and you can go into that photograph and say, no, that's from a movie, or that was from, not from New York, that's from Chicago or something. You'd be able to see the
Yeah.
source, because all the news organizations are doing it because they have to validate their output, right? So
Yeah.
that's what we're doing. We're using these three pillars to really build the system so that we can guarantee our users you're getting the most accurate, because who's got more accurate information than the manufacturer who made the product, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's what I would advise people today as you're looking at, try it. Just ask the LLM, the AI chatbot, whatever, but know that you could ask it different questions and get the information you want, right? But understand where is it to go to get that, right? And if you're building an AI, you're better off pointing it to where you want it to go.
No, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. As that was actually going to be my next question. What makes you different from other companies that sort of do the same thing that you're doing, but I guess the credibility, I would say,
Yeah,
is
the
the biggest
credibility, the
difference.
compatibility, the fact that like we've tested, so I know that what smart locks work with which Ring video doorbell, and not all of them work with Ring video doorbells because they have different doorbells and different wireless protocols and so forth. And that's that's the key, because the consumer doesn't care about whether it's on a Z-Wave Zigbee wireless connection, which is common with home security systems, right? Or the new protocol wireless thing out there called Matter, which is supposed to let a Alexa device talk to a Google device, talk to an Apple device, but it only can talk if one of the devices is a Matter compatible hub. So that's the thing is, and if you don't know if you so you could buy a product and say, oh, this works on Matter. Okay, I'm using Matter, but you don't have a Matter hub. It doesn't matter. It's not going to work. So little things like this that consumers, the retailers aren't going to help you because they don't know. They're just going to try to sell you shit, And that's why what we're trying to do is make it easier for them to help the sales customer. And then if they have a problem, there's a solution here where you can find out, oh, it was the wrong compatible, or you got to buy this other device to get it to work.
That is awesome. And I'm glad that I ran into it, because I trust when I say I'm going to be using that site a lot. So that's pretty
Good.
cool. Yeah. So, Mr. Mark, what has been your proudest moment or milestone so far?
Well, the first milestone was getting the marketplace up and running, right? To see that. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing more rewarding than seeing your concept, your idea come to
Mhm.
life and actually seeing people use it, right?
Awesome.
So that was one milestone. Another one was recently with our new AI, seeing how it works with our data, because we had to take all of our compatibility data, all of our product data and articles, and convert it into what they call a vector database. All right. So
Okay.
most of your databases are structured. Even Google today with SEO is all about structured data. This is all about
Yeah.
unstructured data. This is like you got to help the LLMs read it and understand it, right? So you have to kind of convey that into a vector database, right? So being able to do that and then have it read it and see the outcome was pretty cool, right? And then also now dealing with marketers and license, because we're going to be licensing the GearBrain Assistant to manufacturers, retailers, and installers. And one company, a big ISP, loved it, and said that what we're doing, nobody's doing. I had even somebody from another big appliance maker, tell me the same thing. Like, you're the only one in the world who's doing this, and I got a big head start on people. And some people are like, well, how big of a market is it? Well, it's going to be big when shit starts to hit the fan, right? And when people can't get stuff out there. And what we're trying to do is prevent a lot of that happening. The beauty about the AI now, GearBrain Assistant, you'll be able to take it and integrate it. You could use it as a solution for first line of defense for customer service, or better yet, if you
Awesome.
have your own AI stack, we've built the framework we're building can be delivered via an AI agent, or you can integrate it right into your own AI stack. Because we wanted to be able to say to the, potential partners, look, this is what you can have all of it. Oh, you want just this piece? You can take just this piece, but understand the limitations with just this piece. But a lot of times they'll say that's
Yeah.
fine, and we're fine as
That
long
is
as
awesome.
it is.
God, that is awesome. Like just to and you're right. Whenever like someone first starts a business, just seeing it, how should I say it? Just seeing it started or seeing it start you start reaping the benefits. And sometimes like for me, reaping the benefits isn't more so about money. It's more so chasing the purpose, which is what you were doing. So reaping the benefits for you was people actually going to the site, and that is amazing because a lot of people don't understand. Like when you put a lot of hard work into something that you believe, you want to see it working. You get excited when you see it working. It's like being a kid again. Like you just get butterflies in your stomach. Like man, I made the right decision. So that's really cool just to
Yeah,
see
it's it's
that.
it, it's it's. I tell people, look, I was part of a team that sold a
Yeah.
company for $410 million, another company for 250 million. And those are exciting. That's great accomplishments. I mean, and everything. You've built up a business to be worth that kind of money, right? And somebody wanted to buy it, you know. But nothing harder than taking a concept, an idea, and turning it into a
Mhm.
business. That is the most challenging thing because it's a very lonely business, right? Because you start off with just yourself, unless
Yeah.
you have a partner. And when stuff has to get done, you turn around, there's nobody there, so that means you got to do it. And there's some lonely days, and you start to question yourself. Did I do the
Yeah.
right thing? Is this, and then all of a sudden something pops up and it's like, wow, never thought about it,
Yeah.
and they're like, that makes a lot of sense, so
Yeah.
they're a bit, but at the end of the day, it's the constant, making money off of it too is great. And then having, one of the good things for us is we start off with one of the key ingredients for a successful business. You have to have a really good name, right? And
Yeah.
ideally, it used to be, especially in the internet, I remember from the early days, you wanted a 4-letter, 2-syllable word. They're all gone,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so you want a 2-syllable word, something that's easy for people to say and remember and spell, and GearBrain was just, we lucked out and got the right name at the right time. And now we got GearBrain AI coming soon with the GearBrain assistant. That's going
Awesome.
to be fun.
That is awesome, man. So I have to ask, if you had a magic wand right now to fix one thing in the business right now that is holding you back or slowing you down, what would that be?
Capital. Capital is the
Okay.
only thing because we're doing it. Well, we've got proof of concept and everything like that. But the hard part
Mhm.
with, you got a tough economy, is, everybody's saying it's growing, everything. It's still very tough because everybody's unsure what's going on, right? So no one's
Yeah.
really, the purse strings are tight. Uh, you also have an investor market where it's very challenging. You got, to be a VC
Yeah.
business, you have to be generating a decent amount of revenue and have a good track
Yeah.
record. They say they want to go early seed, but they really don't, unless it's some incredible hockey stick growth in a short few
Yeah.
months. They're not. And then you have angel investors who are acting like a private equity investor. They want
Yeah.
certain things, and you sit there and go, well, if I hit those milestones, I'm not going to talk to you because I don't need to talk to you because I'm extremely profitable. So
Exactly. Yeah.
there's some lot of challenges and stuff, but I think, for us, we're moving and we're building everything, and we've self-funded the company for 5-6 years,
Oh
and
wow.
money and everything. So, and we haven't done equity round. We've just done some
Huh.
angels and fans for family and stuff, but that's,
Yeah.
so we still own majority of the company, and
Huh.
which is, and I think when you look at your business, you got to decide, okay, what's the exit strategy, right? Is this a business that's going to go public? Is this a business that's going to be a nice little business, or is this going to be a
Yeah.
business that could be big part of a bigger business? And I think that's
Yeah.
where we see ourselves being part of a bigger business. Someone could leverage what we do. We just have to get it
Yeah.
up and running, and that's why the capital has been holding us back, because there's certain tools and things that we need to build that we're building. It's just I'd like to go
Yeah.
faster, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But luckily for us, the market's been slow, so we've been growing with the market.
No, that is awesome. And I love that you mentioned that your business, you can look at your business as an exit. Well, what's the exit strategy? Is it going to go public? Is it going to be a business that is going to be a nice business? Is it something that can go into a business? I think a lot of founders don't think like that.
They all
And
think, They all
yeah,
think they're going to be the next unicorn. I'm like, no, you're not. Those days,
yeah,
like even in AI right now, it's very, very crowded, and there's tons,
yeah,
and everybody's talking about, like they all talk about generative AI solution. Generative, it's not about that.
yeah,
I mean, the investors right now are all
yeah,
looking at agentic AI, and that's what we're looking at. We're looking at
yeah,
we need to get this initial stage done because we have a roadmap to start the agentic, where our assistant, if you give it permission to view your network and see and help you manage your devices, we'll be able to actually manage those devices in your smart home, or help you learn what you need to do without you knowing, having to do anything. Like, okay,
that's
yeah, your sensor's not working. Okay, it's the batteries. Go replace the batteries. Or, oh, you got to connect it to the wrong port in your router, all right, or your
yeah,
modem. I'll change it, and you change it through the app, and excuse me, the firmware, whatever. So these are all little things that that's what investors are now looking at. The agentic
yeah,
piece, those days are gone now, because there's a million of them out there, kind of doing
yeah.
it.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. It is definitely a crowded space where it's like
And that's why
I
I
don't know. I look at
recognize,
it.
and that's what I recognize you have to have a key differentiator. And that's
Yep.
what our differentiator is, that compatibility piece that nobody wants
Yeah.
to do. And it's too hard to do. And just, oh, you want to license that? Fine, I'll license it to you. And
Yeah.
just pay me a monthly fee or pay me a SaaS. But, the nice thing about AI is you don't need an army, and you don't need a ton
Yeah.
of money. I mean, I look at some of these guys. I was with one company, they spent tens of millions of dollars building something. And I'm like sitting there going, I could probably do it for less than $1 million,
Yeah.
if you have to have the right people.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I think tens of millions of dollars of doing something like that, you probably got robbed a couple times. People not doing the things properly. No,
You
trust
got
me.
senior leadership. You got a senior leadership who didn't want to be a startup role and really wanted to pay those
Exactly.
seven figure salaries. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I see that a lot. I'm like, dude, it's a startup. No one's got money. No one, cash is king. Equity is what you use, and if you got cash, you hold on as long as you can. Kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
So,
Mr. Mark, where can people connect with you to learn more about your company?
well, there's a couple things. You can go to gearbrain.com. Always send an
Okay.
email to info@gearbrain.com. LinkedIn, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, Mark Westlake. You'll see my LinkedIn profile there. But GearBrain, info@gearbrain.com. Just send me a note. It'll go to our general box, and somebody will help, and they'll send it to me, and I see it too. But feel free to reach out. That's probably the best way. Info@gearbrain.com.
Awesome. And to everyone that's listening in, I would honestly check out the website. If you have any connected devices or you're thinking about getting connected devices, go through it. He has an AI system that's going to be in place. How soon did you say that was going to be
Well, I
on the
just spoke
website?
to my AI person. It's going to be probably next month, this month, before Black Friday. Our goal, we're shooting up to be up a week before Black Friday, so that when people are looking for
Awesome.
things, they could just ask it, "Hey, I'm looking to buy this," or I'm looking to get somebody a gift that's compatible with this," and it will tell them exactly, here are the products you can look at. Here's where you can get them. And then, oh, you want to need help setting it up? We'll tell you how to set it up, and and everything.
Awesome.
So yeah, that'll be the AI will be up then, and then it'll just be constant upgrades, and we
Yeah.
go from there.
Awesome. So to everyone listening, before you purchase anything, just go to gearbrain.com.
That's
I would
right.
highly recommend that because before you
Especially
purchase, it'll let you know
Amazon. If you're
everything
going to Amazon, come here first because I'm telling you, yeah. Here's the biggest problem with retailer sites. They can't help you find devices compatible with what you own because they don't know. And when you look at their filtering only has maybe one, like it works with, and it will show you all the smart speakers, but it doesn't tell you all the other things. Like, oh, well, I want it to work with, my ADT home security system, or I want it to work with my local system. All right. And if you tell us the local system you have, we can determine, oh, that's a Z Wave, or this is this platform, alarm.com. Oh, and we can find those devices for you. And that's the big differentiator so that you're not spending time trying to figure out how to get it to work. It doesn't work. Then you bring it back to the retailer and you just wasted a whole day trying to figure out how to get something to work that's not compatible. And you still are back to
Yep.
where you started because no one's helped you figure out, okay, what is compatible? And that's where we come
Yep.
in.
That is awesome. So if I could give anybody any type of insight, just don't buy anything without going to GearBrain.
I
That's
love
what I would recommend. So just just make sure check it out on GearBrain. And once
And
again,
if you
Mr.
can't
Mark, it was a
find it
pleasure
too,
having
Jeff,
you.
tell them. If you can't find it, you send us a note. In 24 hours, we'll find it for you.
Oh, that is awesome, guys. That
So
is
that's
pretty
one thing
cool.
that you say
So
to people. If you don't find it, or if you don't see it there, you let us know. Hit the feedback button on the site. And someone will get back to you within 24 hours. Yep.
that is
That's our
awesome.
key
Please
guarantee.
take advantage of it. As I'm gonna give this to my wife today so she can take care of it for it. So,
You
but
got it.
that is awesome. But it was a
Well,
pleasure, Mr. Mark. Thank you so much for coming on to the call. Everybody, please reach out to him. His LinkedIn. His name is once again Mr. Mark Westlake. He's the owner and founder of GearBrain.com. It was a pleasure, and hope to speak to you soon again, Mr. Mark.
thanks, Jeff. I appreciate having me. It was great. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Was that